Welcome, Air Tribe, to tonight's Leadership Quest. And tonight, I want to introduce you to someone very special. Not just a brilliant coach, but one of my trusted friends, Lisa Walker-Holloway. Lisa and I have known each other for years, and let me just tell you, she is one of the most powerful, authentic, and heart centered leaders I know. Lisa is the creator of the 3D success formula, which equates to dreams plus discipline plus drive equals destiny. Lisa is the author of the incredible Get It Journal, which is a guide that helps women take action on their visions. What I love most about Lisa is how she leads. She leads fearlessly from the heart. She doesn't just tell you what to do. She gets in the game with you. You feel her presence. You know she's not only cheering for you, she's pulling you higher. She embodies the habits, the faith, and the discipline that defines true leadership. So, Air Tribe, grab your notebooks, lean in, because Coach Lisa is about to drop some gems. Please join me in welcoming my friend, one of the best coaches I know, Coach Lisa Walker-Holloway. Welcome to the tribe.
Oh, hey, thank you so much. I love it, love it, love it. I'm so excited to be here with the Air Tribe and with Andrea, one of my best friends in terms of coaching. And she talked about dropping knowledge. She is the one who drops so many gems. She's doing such amazing work with the Air Tribe and outside of the Air Tribe. So I'm just excited not just to know her, but to also be in this space with you. So thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm excited to be here with the Air Tribe. Um, and I know we talked about, you know, habits and forming habits, and but ultimately that is preparing you for success. And so today what we are going to talk about is preparing you for success using my 3D success formula, which will also allow you to crush your goals. Okay. So, um, Andrea has done an amazing introduction of who I am. I've been coaching people for years now, not just professionally, but also through my own business and just, friends and family. I'm sure you all have had an opportunity to provide some advice, or, you're that person that folks always come to. Well, that's me. And what I learned a few years ago, actually some years ago, was that this was something that was my purpose, giving back in a way where I could coach and develop individuals. So today we're going to talk about being prepared for success. And you'll see me looking up only because I'm looking at my screen. Um, we're going to do some journal prompting. I have a couple journal prompts for you guys because I want you to imagine and think about what success looks like for you. We'll talk about some productivity hacks, distractions, and creating a master schedule for yourself, goal setting fundamentals, because ultimately creating this habit and this routine, it is a goal. It's something that you are trying to accomplish. And I think, Andrea did a great job sharing my 3D success formula. Dreams plus discipline plus drives equals destiny. But ultimately, you can use that formula for any goal that you may have, that you want to accomplish. We'll talk about creating a solid foundation when we're thinking about our goals, whether it's just these habits or anything else. And then we'll have some closing remarks. So just think about this. When you are preparing for success, there's some things that you really want to consider. First, you need to believe that you can be successful. Nothing is going to happen without the faith. And that's the faith in yourself, your abilities, and the faith that you have in the fact that this is something that you want to accomplish and that you can actually do it. You want to commit to your success. You've got to make that commitment to yourself. One of the things that I decided to do when I created my journal was to have a page there where you make a promise to yourself. That's an actual commitment that you are going to do what you need to do to become who you want to become through the actions that you take for yourself. You've got to think positively. Always, always, always. Because I think we've all noticed how, you may say when you say good things happen. When you say bad things, sometimes bad things happen. And what you say is something that you begin to believe. That's why we always, you see people who do affirmations or have mantras because they know that what they say, words are power, and that's something that you're going to hold on to. So you want to be thinking positively. You want to reflect on your journey. How exactly am I going to get here? What am I going to do? What is that vision that I have for myself? And then lastly, you want to set your goals and you want to write them down. And I always tell people, and if you have the opportunity to listen to Andrea and our conversation that we had, I shared with everyone that my number one rule for accomplishing goals is to write it down. You have to write it down because once you write it down, it becomes real. And I know we've all heard there is power in the pen. So it is absolutely powerful when you begin to write things down because again, it becomes real. So with all that in mind, I want you guys to think about a couple of things and I want you to write this down. Now, I saw that Coach Andrea mentioned in her notes to everyone that you need to bring a pen and paper or a journal. So, we are going to journal prompt. And if you're not familiar with a journal prompt, it is a simple statement designed to inspire you or offer you an idea of what to write about. And this is what I want you to write about. There are two things. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes. I'll just, maybe pause about 8:11 for you to think about this. So the first journal prompt is my vision of success looks like. I want you to finish that. And then the second journal prompt is I will take the following steps to create my success. So let's give that some thought. I will give you a couple minutes. And Coach Andrea, if there's a way for us to just see if anyone wants to share, I don't know if they can come off of mute and just share with their vision. Maybe if we have any takers, that would be great.
Mhm. Okay, I will pop it over here and then I'll read those to you. Hold on.
Okay, awesome. That'd be great. So yep, just plop it in the chat so that this doesn't get too complicated technically with the technology that we are using. My vision of success looks like, and I will take the following steps to create my success. Give you another minute or so to think about that. And if you don't, if you can't write anything down today, at least write the journal prompt down so that you can you can finish that later after the session is over. All right, it's 8:11 and I see that somebody popped something in the chat. Let's see here. I think I may be able to click on this, Andrea, if you want me to.
Yep. Yeah, that's perfect. I got one more.
Okay. My vision of success looks like being able to provide for my family with freedom. I love that, Gail. I have a very similar vision of success in terms of providing with my family with freedom. Um, I actually would like to purchase a ranch home where we can all just live together and support one another. My parents are getting up in age, and it'll be so much easier if we are all in the same home and we can support each other from that perspective. And that's really from every perspective. So I completely understand that. And then Terry wrote, success looks like finally getting my health together. Terry, I know what you mean. Um, my brother had a health scare. As I mentioned, my parents are getting older. And I just, at one time, went on a frenzy. I was like, I know health is wealth. That's the only real true gift that you can give to your family, um, is, you being healthy and still being around to support them. So I know exactly what you mean about that. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. All right. So now that we've kind of thought a little bit about what success looks like for us, I want to talk about one of the other very important aspects of preparing for success, and that's accountability. Um, we need to be willing to accept responsibility for our own actions. And when I talk about accountability with my clients, I'm talking to them about what they're going to do to take personal accountability, but I also talk to them about maybe having an accountability partner. I think accountability partners play such a huge role in our success, but you got to make sure you got the right accountability partner. You want to ensure that this is someone who has your best interest at heart, someone who wants to see you succeed, and someone who is going to be right there in the fight with you. Now, I tell people sometimes it's tough to, have your best friend or, a close friend as an accountability partner because I think we cheat sometimes the closer the friend is. We let them get away with it. And not that we're trying to, hold anything over their head, but I like finding someone who has maybe similar goals as you, who again, has your best interest at heart, someone who's really going to, not just hold you accountable, but will be there for you when times get tough, right? So this could be someone like a coworker, a church member, maybe someone that's close to you, like your closest cousin or someone like that. It could even be someone like a teammate, So think about who's in your network that you would like to rely on and have that type of relationship with, so that you can have an accountability partner while you're holding yourself accountable. And there are other little tactics that you can do in terms of holding yourself accountable. There may be, we'll get into some of the productivity hacks and things of that nature, but something that I like to do is I have a screensaver, a picture of a screensaver, or I have something on my refrigerator, or I've got like this little saying that's going to help me get over the hump. All of those things are helping you hold yourself accountable along with the person that is also helping you hold yourself accountable. And it's really I'll say this about accountability partners. I know we've all followed Oprah years over years, and I think Oprah mentioned at one time she had 6 coaches. Um Oprah is a billionaire. So if Oprah can have 6 coaches, I think that we can all have someone that's a coach in our life that can help hold us accountable and help us achieve our goals. So I wanted to mention accountability as a big role in this whole part of preparing for success. So let's talk a little bit about some productivity hacks. We want to make sure that we can focus on the things that we'll change and let go of the things that we can't. But when we think about some of the things that don't allow us to move forward, I know the number one thing for me that I've been working on for years now is just minimizing distractions. I'm a PhD student, and one of the first things I did was turn off all the notifications that hit my phone every day. So all the emails, uh, all the notifications from LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram, all those things are distractions. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about distractions, but that is a hack, thinking about what those distractions are and removing them, because once you remove that, you begin to create routines for yourself that will allow you to get closer to accomplishing your goals. Creating awareness. So, we talked about having accountability partners and how they can help us, but I think another thing that allows us um, to accomplish our goals and, is somewhat of a productivity hack is sharing with those folks that are closest to you what you're trying to accomplish. So, for example, I've suggested to clients, who are working on things to have a family meeting, share with the family, hey, mommy is working on blah, blah, blah. And during these times of the day, I'm not going to be available. I need you to help me get over this hump so that I can accomplish this goal. So maybe it's sharing with the folks in your household. Maybe it's, sharing with someone, again, your accountability partner. Maybe it's sharing with someone who has a similar goal as you that's not your accountability partner. So maybe you're trying to lose weight and you're going to the gym and you notice that there's someone who may be in your peer group, and you strike up a conversation with that person and you guys say, hey, well, let's meet here, 2 or 3 days a week. And what are you trying to do? And this is what I'm trying to do. So creating that awareness in your network, in your circle, is helpful, because when people understand what you're trying to do, you'll be surprised at how they will help you or even cater to you. I have a girl, well, she's like my sister actually, but she'll say to me, you got homework tonight? And I'm like, yeah, I got homework, but I don't need you to remind me. But I'm happy that she did, because she's rooting for me, and I've created this awareness around my goals, and she's helping me through that. So I would say creating awareness is huge. The next big thing is sticking to your daily routines. If you don't have a daily routine, I would suggest you create one. And we'll talk a little bit about creating a schedule here soon. But when you have a routine, it keeps you disciplined. When you're disciplined, you have created consistency. So, whatever you do, you're always going to do ABC, and everyone knows that. So it could be as small as, she gets here every day at 7 a.m. She has her coffee, she's checking everything off her to-do list, or she's creating a list for the day, and that's what's going to help you be successful for that day and throughout the week. I have a mantra that on Sundays we plan. So Sunday is the day we're going to sit down, we're going to write down everything that needs to be done for the week. I've got my work calendar up, I've got my personal calendar up, and I'm looking at both of them so I can make sure that I have got all my priorities set. Excuse me. And that leads us to the to-do list. Creating to-do lists um, are very helpful. When you have a to-do list, you are prioritizing the things that you need to get done. Now, I know I am a woman of a certain age, and my memory just isn't where it used to be. So I have to write things down. And I encourage folks to, at any age, to write things down, because it's going to, first of all, a couple things. One, when you start to write stuff down, you start to remember other stuff that you weren't initially thinking about. Like, oh, yeah, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. And then I've got to do this for that in preparation for something in another couple weeks or so. So it's going to allow you to recall all the things that you need to do. Go back to that power in the pen. It's going to be real. So it's like, oh, yeah, I got to check this off. Um, and again, it allows you to prioritize. So you're able to check off what you did get done and then move the things that you didn't get done, move it to the next day. So to-do lists are very powerful from that perspective. And if you don't want to write it down, there are a ton of different um apps where you can write things down. You can use the notes in your phone, or type things, I should say. But my preference is to write everything down. All right. Now, Andrea, I would love to be able to see if anyone has any questions before I move forward.
Okay, let me check, check, check. Okay, nope, not yet.
Okay. Awesome. 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 I know I've covered a lot. So just want to make sure. So, distractions. We talked a little bit about distractions and minimizing them. And a distraction is just pretty much, anything that prevents you from giving something else its full attention, right? So there are two types of distractions. You have external distractions. Those are the things like your visual triggers, you see something or somebody, social interactions, somebody that's coming by your desk all the time, or someone who may be in the house, or even, social media. You've got the music, you've got text messages, and phone calls. All of those can be external distractions. Then you have internal distractions. And this is when you've got things like fatigue or illness, worrying, daydreaming. Those are all things that can contribute to the lack of focus that you need when you are actually working on something. So, I've got a list here of some of the common distractions and how, you can tackle some of those distractions. So, we talked about cell phones and texting, the internet, uh, gossip, social media, your coworkers, um, smoke and snack breaks, emails, noisy coworkers, a ton of things, right? And I'm sure you guys can come up with more when you look at this list. But here are some of the ways that you can tackle those distractions. And we'll talk a little bit about this when we get into the fundamentals of goal setting. But having a clear desk, of your desk is not cluttered, it's clean, it's ready to go. I know some of us can operate in chaos, but a lot of us cannot. So that could help you just avoid some of the things, because as you are focusing on this, now you're trying to focus on the stuff you got to get rid of that's on your desk. So, you want to do that. You want to avoid multitasking, which is hard. But when you're working on something that's priority, you need to be able to give that special attention. And I like to do that by time blocking. Um, just, maybe saying, okay, for the next 30, 40 minutes, I'm only going to focus on this. It may not be completed, but I've given that my focus for that amount of time. Um, and so I think that's very helpful with multitasking. Turn off your phone. I know it's hard to do, especially depending on, what your situation is. Maybe kids are coming home from school, or you got a parent from that's out of town or something like that. But what I've learned is going back to creating awareness is if I call my dad and say, hey, I know we usually talk at blah, blah, blah time. I'm trying to get you in a little earlier because I know I've set some time aside to do this today. He's good. He's just happy that he could hear my voice. I'm happy that I could hear his. And we're ready to go. So if you can turn off your phone, turn off your phone. If you just need to mute it, I understand that too. um, Schedule everything. We'll talk a little bit about creating a master schedule, but scheduling everything again kind of goes back to me planning on Sundays, and doing that to do list as well. Those things help me prioritize. And when I've scheduled it, and I tell people all the time, if it is not on my schedule, it is not real. Um, and soon I'll be managing a completely different schedule. So I'm trying to, find some tools. I don't know if anybody's, and I'm not endorsing this product because I haven't used it yet, but I've recently been made aware of the Skylight calendar. I've been considering purchasing that to help me make sure that I stay on task with all the things that I'm working on, and that I'm prioritizing everything that I need and I don't forget anything. Um, Use a website blocker. I mean, it's an option. I have not used a website blocker. But I guess if there's a particular website that you just can't pull yourself from, it could potentially help you. Use noise canceling technology. That is definitely helpful. I know a lot of times I see folks with the headphones on and they're just like really into their music and they're focused. So I definitely can see how that would happen, how that would help. We've talked about scheduling, so tracking time for tasks and meetings, and that's kind of when I do my time blocking. It allows me to track the time for tasks. So even though I might do like 40 minutes or 50 minutes, if I wanted to, I could track how long it took me to finish a project. Um, Look up to productive people. Hey, there is nothing wrong with asking somebody else their best practices, especially if you notice that this is someone who always gets things done. They're never late. If they have some of the attributes that you're looking to instill in yourself, absolutely. Look up to them and get some, talk to them, pull them to the side. Hey, let me take you to lunch, breakfast, whatever it is. Tell me what you're doing. Share those best practices. Take breaks to snack and rest. Rest is so important, y'all. Um, I had to learn that. I mean, I know that, but sometimes we learn that the hard way. So please, please, please make sure that you are carving out time to get rest. Take a break. Listen to an online noise generator. I've never done that. However, I think it could actually be something that could assist, especially if you just need like that white noise or something in your ear to help you focus. So, these are some of the distractions and some of the common ways to tackle some of these distractions. But I think it's also important to create a schedule. That's one of the things that I usually share. This is one of the bigger things that I share with my clients. It's to create a master schedule. There is a benefit of creating a schedule. There are tons of benefits of creating schedules. And one of them is that it creates structure and discipline. Here we go back to that D word again, discipline. Um, but creating that schedule, it's gonna keep you structured and then anybody else around you. Because one of the things that we do that we need to, some of us need to work on, and that is, saying no, right? So if you've got that uh, structured schedule in front of you, and someone's asking you a question or asking you to do something else, you got to go back to that schedule because that schedule also determines your priorities. And you're going to have to say, I can't do that today. Is there another day we can work around this? Um, oh, how can we do this, but on another day? So it's okay to say no. I'm not telling you to yell it at nobody. There's a way for you to, say to someone, I can't do that today, or let's figure out another day because I've got, a couple different priorities that I need to tend to today or to this week. It doesn't have to just be that day. It helps you manage your time. You know how much time you have to get things done. And if you're going to, again, be able to do something else, you can also see when you're overbooking yourself. You can see when you don't, you can determine when you have gaps and when you don't have a gap. Again, that schedule is going to allow you to minimize those distractions because you already have your priorities outlined and you know you can't do this. I can't do this right now. There was one of my clients, she said to me, "Hey, I'm gonna look at my social media." I said, "Okay, that's fine." But what she also said to me was, I've carved out some time when I wake up in the morning or, after a certain time during my work schedule where I can simply just pull up Facebook or Instagram. I give myself 30 minutes. She built that in her schedule. So there are ways for us to still, you know, um, I guess create time for the things that we want to do as well when we have priorities. And then plan for goal achievement. When you create that schedule, you've got your priorities and you're planning to get something achieved, accomplished for that day. And that's what that schedule allows you to do as well. When we create the master schedule, and what I consider a master schedule is taking all of your accounts where you may have a work schedule, a personal schedule. I know sometimes parents have a soccer schedule, football. Their kids are in a ton of other activities. Bringing all that together to actually determine where you have gaps and capitalizing on those gaps to accomplish other goals or other opportunities or to-dos that you want to prioritize. So, again, creating the master schedule is going to allow us to look for the gaps in our current schedule so that we can create space for priorities. So, for example, carving out the time to work on our goals. It allows us to get in the routine of planning your day because that's another thing that we have to get in the routine of doing, making sure that we're actually planning the time. And you also become more efficient. I have a very good friend of mine. She works from home. She's a college professor. She's got two girls and a husband, but I tell you, it feels like she gets it all done. She's very efficient. And, if I call her through the middle of the day and I'm like, "Hey, what you doing?" I'm working. Uh, if she picks up the phone, she's got something going on, but she's very efficient. She has a schedule, she does a to-do list, and she has mastered getting things done on her time. So this is actually, these are proven um hacks that have helped people. So now that we have, if I can find my cursor here, talked about creating a master schedule, let's talk a little bit about goal setting fundamentals. because I think it was Gail who was saying that she wanted to be able to, she had some priorities that she wanted to see success through her vision with. And Terry had some things from a health perspective. So let's talk about just the fundamentals of goal setting. I think that a lot of times we say we want to accomplish something, but we don't think about how we're going to do it. And when we don't think about how we're going to do it and what that looks like, uh, we get, sidetracked. Something's not going the way we want it to go. And then we just give up because we feel like we can't do it. But let's just think about some of the things that are helpful that will be considered fundamentals to help us get over that hump. So, first of all, have you created a goal list? And when I say created a goal list, did you write these things down? Are these things that you want to do written down and even thought of? Because if you don't write it down, I've already told y'all it's not real. You got to write it down. Have you thought about when you will work on your goals? Because that's very important. Again, if you're already juggling all these other things, how you gonna work on the goal? What tool or resource are you using to journal your goal progress and create your plan? Very important, because if you can't track or measure what you want to accomplish, you never know how close you've gotten to accomplishing the goal. Do you need additional funding to accomplish your goal? A lot of times we want to, I need a new car. I gotta get, I want a bigger house. But, do we have the funding, and how can we get the dollars to do that? And that becomes a separate goal, right? That becomes just one of those digestible actions that we need to break down to help us get closer to the house or the car, going back to school, whatever the situation may be, this grandiose vacation, whatever. We want to think about funding, because it plays a big role in a lot of the things we want to do. We talked a little bit earlier about decluttering the space. So, do you have a dedicated space to focus on your goals? And if you do you need to declutter and organize it? Because all of that plays a role in you being, successful, you preparing for this success. So, we want to create a solid foundation. You want to have a master schedule, because again, that's where you are going to prioritize everything. That's when you determine what's important. That's where you've got things carved out to work on everything. You want to have an organized, dedicated workspace. And this doesn't have to be anything fancy. I have a client who her kitchen table was her dedicated workspace. And she carved out time early in the morning before her daughter woke up, so that she could do everything that she needed to do and then get her ready for school and out the door. And then, she's off to work. So it doesn't have to be a fancy space, but do you have some space? It could be the library. I go to the library a lot. So, and I just recently moved, just got my new library card for the county that I live in. And guess what? It's free. And a lot of libraries have separate rooms. And, you can get that room for 2, 3 hours or however long they allow you to have it for. And you've got your own little workspace right there for the day, especially if you need a change of scenery. Sometimes we need that. I was talking to my neighbor, she's writing a book, and I was telling her how I wanted to go get my new library card, and I was telling her I wanted to go to the library to study. She's like, "You can't just study in your office at home." I was like, "I could, but not all the time. Sometimes I need to step away. I need a change of scenery." And that's okay. Do we have a budget? Do you have a budget for that goal that requires funding? Or do you have a budget at all? Because sometimes we need to see where we are. That's going to help us get to where we want to go. And so if you just take in an extra $20, extra $10 per paycheck to put aside to help with that goal, you won't know if you can even do that if you don't have that budget created. Do you have a journal? Do you have a place to, put all this good stuff so that you can go back to it? The cool thing about writing things down and journaling is that now you have a record. It's documented. And in those slow times when you don't have the drive for whatever reason, you can go back to look at what you had accomplished before and figure out what helped you get there. So journaling, um, with your goals and creating a goal plan, or just journaling um, your everyday actions, or what happened. What did you dream about last night, right? What what do you have on your plate for tomorrow that's going to help you be successful? That's all really important. Those are your personal thoughts that you can hold with you. And then in times when it's time to celebrate, because we celebrate all of our successes, many, small, medium, large, big, all of them. I don't care if you just went to the library that day, um, and you didn't get a whole lot done, but you went to the library. We're gonna celebrate that success, because you got to the next step somewhat. So that is it's important for us to create a solid foundation. That's going to help us get closer to creating the life that we want to live, and getting closer to the dreams and the goals that we want to accomplish. So this is, Andrea mentioned earlier that I have published a goal setting journal. It is called the Get It Journal. These are some of the parts of that journal. There's a formula there. We've already talked about the formula, but we have a glossary. I talked about the promise. The journal is guided by my 3D formula. It has an action plan. And then we talk about getting to your destiny. So, when I created this formula, I thought of all the ways, all the components of what helped me be successful and accomplish my goals, um, time after time. And this is a proven method that has helped tons of people that I've worked with to get closer to and to accomplishing their goals. So even if they haven't, you know, completely accomplish their goals, because it's a long-term goal versus a short-term goal, it's absolutely allowed them to recognize what they need to do to actually accomplish their goals. So we talked about the dreams plus discipline plus drive equals destiny. And what we do is we make your dreams a goal, and then we make your goals smart. So I'm going to ask, and maybe you guys can drop it in the chat. How many people have heard of the SMART goal method? Anybody?
Yes. Looks like
Yes.
3 people. We'll
Hey,
take it.
that's good. That's good. That's good. So I love, love, love the SMART goal method. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. I love the SMART goal method. And the one reason that I love it is because it allows you to qualify your goal. And what I mean by that is this tech this technique allows you to determine if the goal is effective and can be achieved. So, the acronym SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. You want to be specific as to what you would like to accomplish. And when I say specific, you want to say exactly what it is, not just, I want to go back to school, or I want to lose weight, or I want to buy a new house. You want to say, I want to go back to school next year to become a dentist. I want to lose 20 pounds by the end of 2026. And I want to buy a 3-bedroom home, 2 bath with 2-car garage um by the end of 2026 in this neighborhood. You want to be very specific about what you want, because the more specific you are, the closer you are going to get to understanding what you need to do to accomplish the goal. Make sense? Let me see some of those thumbs up. So you want to be specific. Yay! Thanks, guys. You want to be able to measure your goal. So I talked a little bit about this earlier. You want to ask, is your goal measurable? And how will you be able to determine how close you are to achieving your goal? So if, I'm trying to lose weight and I'm just, doing all these things, but I'm not measuring to see if I've gotten closer. I don't even know if what I'm doing is working for me. Um, so how does that even help me? I can't measure it. I need to be able to measure it. Is it attainable? Do you have the tools to achieve the goal, or are you setting yourself up for failure? This is like one of the number one reasons. This one in realistic, because realistic says, does your goal make sense? Is it realistic? And can you achieve the goal you have set for yourself? Those two alone is why I like to do the SMART goal technique. Because if it's not even realistic and I'm trying to accomplish this goal, um, I'm never going to get there. And then ultimately, I'm going to give up and I'm going to think I'm a failure because I just can't do it. And it's not that you couldn't do it, it's that whatever you came up with maybe needed to be tweaked a little bit, or you needed a different plan to help you get there. So if you don't have the tools, that's going to be tough. You're not going to be able to accomplish the goal. And if it's not realistic, it doesn't make any sense. I was on a call one time and I was facilitating, I was talking about realistic, and I made a comment about losing weight. And I was like, you're not gonna lose 30 pounds in a month. And this girl was like, well, I'm doing what is it, GLP-1. She was like, they're saying I could lose 30 pounds in a month. I'm like, okay, all right, okay. That's different. You got a lot of assistance that way. But otherwise, generally, most people cannot lose 30 pounds in 1 month without, a little help, right? So you're setting yourself up for failure, so it's probably not gonna happen. And you're just gonna, beat yourself up for it. Time bound. It's so important that we put a date, attach a date to, our goals. Because if I just say I'm gonna buy a house, I'm gonna buy a house one day. I don't have a date. I don't have a time. I'm not really going to, I'm not shooting towards anything. In most corporate America offices, you have a time and a day to get this stuff done. And it's because it's a part of a bigger strategy. And you can have a personal strategy for yourself as well and attach dates to your goals so that you can be successful. All right. So here is just sort of what I talked about earlier, just a sample SMART goal. So with this one, I use the weight. My goal is to lose 10 pounds by the end of the year. And really, you know, that end of the year is time bound down here. So Friday, I just said Friday, December 31st. I'm going to measure my progress by using my Weight Watchers app to record my daily food intake. I will use my Fitbit to measure my exercise. And additionally, I will measure with weekly weigh-ins. Is it attainable? Yes, because my goal, because I have the tools, I need to lose the weight, I will use my Fitbit app, my Peloton app, and my Peloton bike. Is it realistic? My goal is realistic because on average, a person loses 2 pounds a week, and I can reach this goal by the end of the year. This was just a sample to help you understand how easy it is for you to create something like this for yourself and your goals. And sometimes it gets a little, you might need a little help just because it's like, okay, well, how am I going to track this or how am I going to measure it? But it makes you think about how I could get closer to accomplishing these goals. So discipline is the hardest D. I tell everybody that because we just fall off the wagon, right? It's like, oh, I was doing that, I was so good, and then something happened. It could be a change in your schedule. I can personally say when we went from working from home to like every day to working from home only, I think it was 3 days a week or 2 days a week. And that kind of messed up my routine. I had gotten into this little rhythm of, doing some things, and it just whacked my discipline way out the water. So I had to come up with something else. So you want to think about what steps you need to take to achieve your goal. And in the journal, where we do this, we use a page to help us create timelines and deliverables to help you get to the next step. So you write down, okay, I'm going back to school. So I got to figure out what schools I'm going to research schools. I'm going to do that I'm going to research all the schools I want to go to, do all my research by Friday, this day. And then after that, I want to, as I'm doing my research, I need to see, what are the top three that I want to apply for. I identify that. And then and I got a date attached and time attached to that. And on and on and on. Then you come back and you check off those timelines that you created for yourself because you had those deliverables. You created a timeline, a deliverable with a timeline. And if you didn't get it done, you need to check off when you're going to get it done because otherwise you're going to be in the same spot you were in before. Drive. What is your why? What motivates you to achieve this goal? I think it's important to understand the drive because, if your drive to do something is because somebody else wanted you to do it, you might lose some momentum because it's not necessarily what you want. So it's always important for us to understand what the drive is and what our why is, because that's what's going to keep us going. That's going to give you the momentum that you need to get closer to accomplishing the goal. And then destiny. Now, I like to tell people that you don't have to completely get to the end and check this off and say, okay, I reached my destiny. I got to this dream. I completed everything for you to chart what your destiny is. Because along the way, we talked about this earlier, celebrated some successes. So you know what success feels like. So ask yourself during that time, what does success feel like to you? Because whatever that feeling is, I'm sure you want to continue to recreate it because that's what we're preparing for is success. And what were some of the takeaways? I learned about myself that, you know what? If I write this stuff down, I'm really good with checking stuff off. That's my thing. I love to check stuff off my to-do list. I love to do it so much that if I forgot to write something on my to-do list, I go to my to-do list, I write it down so I can check it off. So you learn about yourself through this process and what some of the takeaways are that I see somebody laughing at me. Uh but you learn things through these experiences. And the cool thing about going through these experiences is that you can one day bless somebody else by sharing with the steps that you took to get you to the next level. of accomplishing your goal. I think so. Note. So here we go. This is my last slide. So the blueprint for success and crushing your goals is you have a vision. You know what you want to do. You have that vision for your life. You know what that success looks like. A lot of times we doubt it or we defer it, but we already know what it looks like. We just got to write it down. Let's write it down. Let's, get into that, uh, um, putting it on paper. After that, we're going to create a plan. And with that plan comes the 3D success formula. It allows you to chart everything you want to do with your vision, making that vision a goal or that dream a goal, making that goal smart, creating that plan of discipline so that you can be consistently working on your plan, uh, keeping your drive in in mind the whole time. That's that momentum you need so you can get to your destiny. Because once you've done that, then you're gonna just go out there, you're gonna go get it. And I'm positive that you will then be successful. So that is all that I have for you all today. Um, I'm so excited that I was able to share a little bit of my experience with you and my 3D success formula. And I hope you feel much more prepared for success after this conversation.
Love it. We do have one more question. Gail wants to know.
Okay.
She said, I created systems to track my goals, but I can't seem to stick to it. How do you find the perfect system and stick with it? Is it just trial and error? Or she said, or am I bad?
Gail, you're not bad. So let's first celebrate the success that you created a system for yourself. That was amazing. Because a lot of people don't recognize that that's what this is. It is literally it's a formula, but it's a system. So you've done that part. We might need to go back to tweaking the system because sometimes it is trial and error. I tell people that all the time. Even when we create dates that we want to accomplish our goals, sometimes we got to go back and say, you know what? I thought that December 31st was going to be best for me. I'm going to tell you, I was talking to a friend maybe about 3 weeks ago. I thought she was still working on her PhD. That's what she told me she was doing. And so I was like, oh, so how's school? She was like, oh, I reworked that plan. I decided that I actually want to become a therapist. So I'm going back to school for that instead of getting my PhD. And I was like, oh, girl, that is amazing. She reworked her plan. Okay. You can do the exact same thing. So let's think about in the trial and error, let's get serious, okay, about assessing and analyzing where the ball is being dropped or where you find yourself no longer being consistent. You know, is it your plan of action, that discipline? Is it your drive? I share with people often once I got my MBA, my dad was like, oh, so now you're going to go and get your doctorate. And I said, no, sir, I'm tired and I'm tired and I'm tired. No. Now I could have applied, got accepted and started school, but I cannot say that I probably would have been successful in terms of graduating in a timely manner because I would have been doing that for him and I wouldn't have been doing it for myself. And although there are times when we have goals, we talked earlier about things that we want to do for our family, but that's still something that you want to do. It's not solely for that person. So it's a little bit different. I would suggest analyzing what you're doing, what in the system, is it something in the system that's not working? Do we need to go back and look at the schedule? Is it, carving out the time? Does it have something to do with, uh, just your discipline? So we look at the schedule, look at our plan of action, and then also considering the drive. Those would be my suggestions without knowing exactly what, something that you're working on.
Yeah. And I'll say I'm right with you, Gail. I have a system for everything, but I realize that the ones that don't work are usually too difficult. Like I had a whole
Mm,
time block thing going that started off really simple and then it got bigger, bigger, it had colors and numbers and it was just too much to be able to stick to.
mhm, mhm,
So you're
mhm,
spot on,
mhm.
Lisa. I think, and that's just me. It could be that your system is too much, right? The
Yep,
simple is
yep,
better most of the time.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely keep it simple.
Yes.
Because again, you don't want it to be difficult
Right.
because now you don't want to even do it anymore. It's like,
Exactly.
oh, that's all right. I'll do something else. In
Be writing it
terms
on your
of us
arm and
exactly, exactly. And I'll say this to you. You made a good point about something, Andrea, and that is I have learned that sometimes when things are hard or we don't know what to do,
Mhm.
we get stuck.
Yes.
So, it's like, okay, I don't know how to handle this. This has got overwhelming and I don't even know what to do anymore. So I'm just gonna kind of put that to the side,
Yeah.
but we haven't, come up with something else. I don't know if it's that, but I wish you, success in figuring out what that little thing may be that has kind of held you up a little bit.
Exactly. Okay. Well, thank you. Do we have any other questions? Anything on both sides? Okay.
All right.
Terry says, thank you. This has been great for me. Thank you,
Awesome. Awesome.
Terry.
Yes. I'm happy to hear that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much. As always, I love your strategies and just your heart for helping people. So thank you. And we're going to post this everywhere inside the tribe and on our social media because I think it's just good stuff and people need to know, especially as we're going into a new year. This is that time where you start trying to see if I need to make resolutions, what do I need to change, what do I need to do?
Yep.
And I think it starts with goals, right? And we have,
It absolutely does.
yeah, and everything we do, when you really think about it, everything you accomplish was at some point a goal, right? You
Absolutely. Yep.
decided, even if somebody came and handed you something, right? At some
Hmm.
point, you decided that I'm going to do this. Oh, that's
Absolutely.
really all goals is. I think we get so caught up in the word goals, like we have to have, I'm gonna be a billionaire in 2026, right? That's a wish, not a goal, right?
Right, right, right.
And I want to
But
meet
hey,
I
girl,
want to meet
look,
your
our God
client
is
who's gonna
good
lose
now.
30 pounds. I want to meet your client who's losing 30 pounds in a month. I need to meet her.
Hey, it was hilarious because she was like, well, I mean, she didn't say which one, but
Yes.
she was doing Ozempic or
Yeah,
something of that
no.
nature, and she's like, and they said I will absolutely lose 30 pounds. I said, okay,
Oh, love it. Well, thank you again so much. This has been awesome for the tribe. Our corporate partners, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I appreciate you. I know you guys are in the middle of something, so thank you for jumping on. Lisa, any parting words? I would like you to talk a little bit about Sip and Dreams. Is that what's
okay,
coming up
absolutely.
next? Yes.
Flipping Dreams is
Yeah.
coming up next. I don't know if you are in the Atlanta area, but we will. Flipping Dreams is my annual signature event where it is a vision experience where
Mm.
we spend time vision casting and inspiring one another, networking, and we align our vision with our goals. So we go through we spend time going through our goals and actually using the 3D success formula and it's just a good time. So that will happen January the 24th here in the Atlanta area. And then I know Coach Andrea and I have talked about potentially offering a virtual session for the Air Tribe. So that may be coming soon as well. And then I'll also be doing a in-person masterclass on reinventing yourself in 2026. This is something that I did last year, and I actually have a virtual session on my website. If you go to jmcconsultingsolutions.com, you'll be able to find that session there. And then the other next big thing directly after that will be Coach Lisa's accountability boot camp. That is the 8-week accountability boot camp to help you get closer also to accomplishing your Q1 goals. So we are excited about all the things we have coming up. And, there may be ways that you guys, 'cause that will be on an online platform as well. So there may be a way for you all to participate in that.
Okay, cool. And we will definitely post it, all of Lisa's events inside the tribe. She has a page inside the tribe, so we will put it on her page so everybody can kind of keep up with her and attend her events and support her. I think it's good for all of us to really start zeroing in on, especially with the way the world is going. You got to have some goals
Absolutely.
and some habits that stick. So,
Absolutely. 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 Yes,
well,
yes,
thank
yes.
you so much, Lisa. Again, we appreciate it. To our Air Tribe members, we'll repost it tomorrow in case it looks like some people may have joined a little late. We will post it inside the tribe tomorrow, the recording. So until next time. And then we also have Coach Latanya is coming next Thursday on the 11th. She's going to talk about being flexible in your career journey and how to do that.
Mm,
As I think
good time.
we're all learning to be flexible. So you
Absolutely.
don't want to miss that. Lisa, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will get all your information posted inside the tribe. I appreciate you.
Awesome.
And
Yes.
we'll
Thank
be
you.
seeing you again coming in
Yes.
Q1. So,
Yes. 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 Yes.
all right.
Excited for
Thank you
everyone.
guys
And thank
so
you
much.
again.
All right.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.